Hi, my name's Jeremy. This is Red Beans Recording, and today I'm going to do something that I've been thinking about for a couple weeks, and that is to do a cover of a song from start to finish using the Deluge and then adding some vocals. I am a huge fan of an artist called Brothertiger, and they do some really chill sort of vocal synthwave stuff, retrowave, and their track Beyond the Infinite is one of my favorite songs in the world. And I was listening to it and I was like, hey, this is something I could do on the Deluge. Like, I started actually thinking about the synth processing and stuff like that and what I would need to do. And I'm like, this would be a cool way to show off the Deluge and also do a cover, which I don't really do much of. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to play the song on my phone in little chunks, and we're going to walk through making all the sounds that we need to and arranging it in the Deluge. And then once it's arranged, we'll play it and add vocals, and then we'll have a cover. So let's get started. Are you ready? Here we go. So before we get started, I will say that I already listened to this track a bunch, and I made myself a little spreadsheet of the different sections and sort of what I heard coming in and out, just to get kind of like a general idea of what I was getting into. So we are at 96 BPM. Boom. And the key is A flat or G sharp. So we will get into that once we start making melodic instruments. But first, we're going to do the drums. And what we have is like a kind of a deeper kick drum. And then we have a synth hi-hat on the 16th notes with a tiny bit of variation to the volume. And then we have kind of a nice flat / snappy snare thing with a tiny bit of reverb on it. So I have this 808 kit that is the sort of the default first kit in the Deluge. And I realized that this hi-hat is really good for this. So we're going to go ahead and put ourselves some hi-hats on here, and we're going to hit play. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm going to hold down this pad, and I'm going to add a little bit of volume automation to this, sort of randomness to this. I believe LFO1 is the one that doesn't retrigger. Retriggering means that the LFO starts over every single time you get a hit, and we don't want that. We want the LFO to keep on going and modulate the volume just a little bit. That's actually a little bit nicer. Okay, so we have our hi-hat. I think that 808 kit is actually not a terrible way to start. So we're going to go ahead and use that. But I'm going to load another kick and snare in here to accent what we already have. So I'm going to hold down the pad and hit load. Now I'm in my samples. Okay, I think that's going to work for now. It's kind of a nice flat snare. Now I want another kick to kind of offset that. The 808 has a really nice deep feel to it, but I want something with a little bit more snap to it to pair with that snare. So I'm going to go here. There's kicks. Let's try this one. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now we have a longer 808 that's got a bit more bass like the track did. So there's our basic kit. Now, in the track, there's this tom that hits on every 2 bars. And I'm going to do that by going into song mode. So there's our kick track right now. Go into a new thing. And I'm going to hit kit. And I'm going to find some toms. Those aren't terrible. Okay, that's closer to what we're looking for. So I'm going to make this a 2-bar phrase. All right, hit record. Okay, cool. So that's the drums for the beginning of the song. Let's move on to that pad. All right, so just to note, the audio coming out of the phone is mono, so we're not getting that glorious stereo imaging that the track actually has. Back into song mode so I can see all my tracks. Make a new track here, and I'm going to hit Shift Synth to make a completely initialized patch. I am going to first off set the key for this thing, and you can see that it says C3 right there. We want to be in a sharp. So we're going to make the root note down here what we need it to be. So first of all, we're going to shift to a minor key. So I have access to a G sharp, and there we go. Now G sharp is the root of the key. So we're recording it in raw synth mode instead of trying to do all of the fancy synth work because I just want to hear it while I play and I need to hear it in the correct chord that it's playing. So now that we have the chord, we can start doing some work. So the first thing I want to do is increase the sidechain a bit because the original song has a bit of pump to it. So we'll exit keyboard mode and start playing with our shortcuts here. And shift volume duck is what we want. Volume duck, he's my new mascot. I'm going to turn this up. There we go. Sidechain. Okay. There's some filter work going on here. There's an envelope. So the first thing we want to do is go into our cutoff. We're going to modulate the cutoff now. So shift frequency. So now this is our frequency for the filter. And we want to modulate this with an envelope. So let's go ahead and hit shift 2. Now the envelope is up, and this is going to be the amount that the envelope modulates the filter. All right, so let's go into envelope 2 now. This is synth edit mode. We're going to go into envelope 2, and we want the sustain to go up a bit. And the decay to go up a bit. And the release. We also want the release of envelope 1 to go up, which is going to control the volume. So now that little bit of silence at the end is actually just sticking around. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's not quite there yet. Let's go ahead and try changing some of our oscillator types around and maybe adding some more oscillator. The sound in here is more of like a brass sound than what I've got going on right now, so we're going to try to make that happen. Right now we're in the waveform type for the oscillator. And I'm going to change this to saw. I like that better. Let's go to oscillator 2 and bring it in some. Wow, now things are starting to get interesting. So I can access all the chorus's parameters here, like depth and rate. All right, I'm going to try turning down the octave of the second oscillator. Okay, cool. We're going to call this good. So we have our intro pad at least set up in the way that that first few bars are. So now we have our drums, we have our toms, we have our pad. And I'm actually going to go into this pad real quick and let's see if I can recall how to change the color. Yeah. So now our pad is green and we have a bit of designation between stuff. Now would be a great time to save. Let's go ahead and save. So I'm going to go ahead and find a thing that doesn't have a little dot on it. And that would be right here. And save. Saving's good. You should do that all the time. Let's listen to the next part of the track and do it. All right, the next part of the track has the pad introduce a more bit of variation to it. It has 2 chords to it as opposed to just the one. And then we also introduced the 16th note sort of like arpeggiated chord thing. So we're going to do both of those. Okay, so let's go into song mode. I want to do a couple things real quick. So here's our pad. And here is our guitar thing. We're going to go ahead and change the color of this to a different color than our pad, just so we can stay organized. So I want to move this pad down because I'm going to clone it, and I want everything to kind of be together. So you do that by holding down that pad, the pad for the actual track, and then using a knob. So I want to duplicate this to another track, which I just did. And now I'm going to append this new version of that track. So on the second bar, it changes now. So let's go to our second bar. And what it does is the low note changes, I think, up to an F. So we're going to take this E flat and have it go to there, which means that it's going to go for the first bar. And you can set the length for anything either by real-time recording it or by holding down the pad and, you know, moving the length around, which is pretty cool. So let's go into the second half of this measure. There we go. I love it. So now we need our rhythmic 16th note sort of pad thing. So again, we're going to create a new synth because we want to start from scratch. Cool. So the first thing we want to do is give this a bit of side chain, just like the last thing did, because it has it. I'm going to save again. Just to show you off that now it says 993A. There's an iterative saving method in this thing where every time you hit save, you have the choice of either creating a new lettered iterative save or you can save over the original. And I was like, why? But it's kind of cool. You guess it kind of get this meta undo buffer versioning kind of thing. It's like GitHub for your song almost. But also you could make different mixes if you wanted, like your original one could be like the main mix, and you could have an ambient mix on a different letter if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and turn down our filter because we're going to use an envelope on this again. Go to envelope, select our frequency, go to envelope 2. So I want a little bit of random on this. Just a tiny, tiny bit. All right, so let's go back out now that we have a little bit of modulation from the envelope on the filter. We're going to go into envelope 2 and play with that. There's a bit of attack. Maybe not quite that much. Good. There we go. This is getting closer. I felt as if in the original there was a little bit of bit crushing on this, so let's try that. Not that. Let's try decimation. There, I like that. Oh, we need some delay. Let's hear that with the rest of the song, shall we? I'm going to call that good, and I'm going to save. Save often, save yourself. Save yourself the misery of not saving. All right, so let's hear what we have next. We got bass and guitar next. First, let's tackle that guitar. Before I did this, I sort of prepared some stuff in Ableton because I knew I was going to have to get some guitar sounds in here. And one of the things I got was a bunch of the default Ableton Studio guitar sounds. I multi-sampled them in C's and G's up through all the octaves, so I would have a guitar sound for here. So let's go ahead. I just made a new synth track. I'm going to hit Shift Synth to make it defaulty. And now I'm going to load my open guitar sound. Fix all of those mistakes. Saving, because we got that arduous task out of the way. All right, so we're going to give this some chorus and some tremolo. Cool, it almost sounds like a guitar. We also want it to modulate a pan, because we're going to pretend it's a stereo tremolo. Let's go ahead and add some chorus to this, and some delay and reverb. All right, let's hear how that sounds in context. Go back to song mode, unmute the things that we need. That's close. Okay. So the next thing we need is our bass line. I actually just sampled some basses in Ableton and brought them in. So let's make a new track. Let's actually make this a kit. I think this is going to work. I'm going to load individual bass hits onto each note. Okay. So I'm going to go to One Shots Pitched. That is a folder I made. Ableton Acoustic Bass Open. So now I need a note on top of this about... All right, so we need a 4-bar phrase. I think we have one. Cool. We spent too much time on the bass, and I think it's okay. We're going to move on. Okay, so I just had some lunch and went grocery shopping, and man, the day is just getting away from me. So it's very likely that this video is going to take a couple weeks to film, and it's probably going to be a multi-parter when it comes to release, just because this project's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's pretty astounding how much work it takes. You don't really know, but that's part of the fun. Making a collection. All right, the next thing is this little thing that happens on the second pass of the verse. So let's go ahead and rock that out. All right, we're going to record this. It's a little bit more complex in terms of a melodic line than I thought, so I'm going to change this up. So again, we're going to give the frequency some envelope modulation. It's not quite there. And I'm wondering if part of that is because I'm not really getting the right waveform for this. So I'm going to go back into the track, and I'm going to go into oscillator 1, and I'm going to change it to a file, a sample, and I'm going to go down to File, and I'm going to find my waveforms and go into the Adventure Kit waveforms. It's not quite what I want. I'm looking for a single cycle waveform that will give me some interesting sound. Strings. So I'm going to go into the filter, and I'm going to go hit it a few times until I get to my high pass filter. And filter out some of that low end. Now it's a lot closer to what I was looking for. So hooray. Great. That only took 20 billion hours. Okay, so that is the first verse. Now we're going to go into the little bridge thing that goes before the chorus. So the first thing I want to do is tackle that drum fill. So I need a ride cymbal. That's going to work. It's basically like a 16th note thing, and it feels like they're actually playing it on two different rides. So I'm going to load the same ride into here, and I'm going to pan these a little left-right, even though that's not what it does in the thing. And I'm going to go in and increase their release so we hear the whole thing. Now we can play those, and we need to have them build up. So I need these to increase in volume. So I'm going to record that automation in real time. I'm going to go to my volume knob. So we need a... Good enough. Okay, so we have this really cool sustained choir sound, which I'm assuming is the singer of Brothertiger as a vocal pad. I don't want to record vocals for this in that manner, so I'm going to load a sample I made using an instrument for contact called Output Exhale, which is an amazing collection of vocal instruments that I am just in love with right now. So I went into Ableton and I held down a couple different pads with that and recorded them and then imported them with the Deluge. So we're going to load one of those by creating a new synth, going to load, and these are going to be down in my vocal folder under Brothertiger. That's a freaking contact instrument. This one's closest to the chord that he holds. It's a nice sustained chord. Cool. The next element of this is that original chord kind of in this like stab right at the beginning. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go into this track. We're going to adjust the way this sound sounds. Okay, and it's a darker sound than what we have so far. So how can I do that? What about my type? How about a square? All right, let's transpose this down too. It's not quite what I'm looking for. Getting something a little closer to what it is, but, you know, it's not going to be exact. Okay. Though I do feel like I'm missing, like, a sustained portion of it. Like, a part of the chord should be sus. That's what I'm missing. There we go. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to modulate the cutoff frequency with LFO 1 and have it rise up a bit. That's cool. Now we have a cool build. I like that. It's not exactly what the original song did, but I think it works really well for the build. And let's go grab that 16th note chord thing and bring that in there and do that. So I believe this is also like a sustained chord. Okay, we're gonna automate the cutoff frequency now. Cool. There's our bridge. Great job. Let's go on to the chorus.